welcome to today's video. We have another reading vlog, and since Valentine's Day is just around the corner, when you're watching this it will be on Valentine's Day or the day after Valentine's Day. Depending on how quick we can edit, it will be around Valentine's Day. I wanted to give you guys something to watch, something that was Valentine's kind of themed, and we could spend Valentine's Day together or Valentine's weekend together. How many times have I just said Valentine's in a sentence? So for today's reading vlog, we are going to be reading romance books for an entire week straight. I brought you over to my TBR cart because we're going to pick our first read for this vlog together. I do have a couple options, and I have a few books that are actually new onto my TBR cart, either from Christmas or my birthday. I've just been really excited to get to. So we do have options. Let me talk you through some of them. The first one is actually in a little pile by my TBR cart. This is my pile of books that I got for my birthday that I just haven't put on the cart yet. But the first one from there is Heartless, which I feel like is very on brand because Valentine's themed, you know? And it's also about the Queen of Hearts, so we definitely have this as an option. What else do we have? We also have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter, which is the second one to Better Than the Movies, and I've been really excited to read this literally since it was released, which I think it was released the end of last year, and I'm intrigued to see where she's going to take Liz and Wes's story and what she's going to do with them. We also have Mr. Wrong Number, which I actually saw this at TK Maxx the other day and I had to buy it because I recently read The Love Wager, and I didn't realise when I read that one that you're actually meant to read this one before it. I really enjoyed the way that The Love Wager was written. It was just a lot of fun, and it was literally like a cheesy rom-com kind of vibe. And I thought since this was technically the first in the series that I would also really enjoy this. We also have Summer in the City by Alex Aster, which is coming out March this year, and this one does give me Valentine's rom-com kind of vibe. So that's definitely an option as well. Okay, I feel like we should choose between these four. I think I'm gonna narrow it down to either Heartless or Mr. Wrong Number. I just feel like because I read The Love Wager recently and because it was just so much fun and it really gave rom-com vibe, I feel like maybe we should go for this one. I think that's what I'm feeling the most right now. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it. The first book of this vlog is gonna be Mr. Wrong Number. To get kind of far into this. I'm 112 pages in currently. I've literally stopped randomly in the middle of a chapter just to update you guys, but it has a really similar vibe to The Love Wager, and I know that that one is actually the second one in the series. It's an interconnected standalone series where this is the first one, but I think it is fine that I read them in a different order. At least at the minute I'm finding it's fine, because we have Olivia in this one and the second one follows her brother Jack, who is mentioned in this one, and then also Olivia and like how her story ends up is mentioned in the second one. But I feel like that's not really a spoiler, because when you're going into a romance like this you kind of make assumptions about how it's going to end, so I don't really mind that it's kind of like a spoiler. But this one follows Olivia, and Olivia has recently been through a bad breakup. She's recently lost her job. She's just known for having bad luck in general, but she's just going through this rough time, and she temporarily moves in with her brother and her brother's best friend. And while she's living here she's trying to find a job and everything, trying to basically get back on her feet. And one day she gets a random text message from this random guy basically asking what she's wearing, and she's like, what's going on? She decides to reply, and they have this like funny back and forth exchange, and she realizes that she can be like really open with him, and she just finds herself in these text exchanges kind of being really open and saying things that she's never really told anybody else. That's kind of the premise of the book, and it's honestly just a lot of fun. I literally said this about The Love Wager, but the vibe that these books have are just so much fun. Like, they are kind of cringe and cheesy at times, but they're just such a nice light-hearted read, and the way that it's written, because the writing is so easy to read, you literally forget that you're reading, and it's just so easy to get lost in that world and lost with those characters. And like the Love Wager as well, this one is mainly dialogue and mainly text messages back and forth, which I just find makes it so fast paced, and you just never get lost in like the description of things happening because it's just conversation all the time, which I really like. And actually, knowing the premise of this book, I was kind of surprised that the Love Wager was actually like that, because from this one you would expect a lot of it to be the text exchanges that they're having, but I wouldn't expect that necessarily as much with the Love Wager because that wasn't the main kind of premise of that book. But I like the theme of this series. I like the theme of it, and I would actually love another book in this series, to be honest. I would love it. I don't know if she's actually ever planning on doing that. Maybe I'll look it up. Shall I look it up now? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? What on earth? Because I would be really interested to know if it was just like the two kind of standalones, interconnected books just by themselves. I can't find anything about a third book. I feel like maybe they're going to be the only two in the series. That would kind of make sense. But then we do also have a third sibling, because Olivia has two older brothers, one of them Jack, who is the main guy in the Love Wager, but then she has an older one who's Will, and in both books he's like settled, has his own family, married with kids. But I feel like it might be nice to have his story on how he met his wife and everything. Lynn Painter, there's an idea. But I feel like that would be really fun, and then we have all the siblings' books. That would be fun. The thing that I'm also really enjoying about this is that the main girl is so chaotic, and she's just such a free spirit, and I just love that. I love it. And her chaotic kind of nature I identify with because I feel like I can be a lot like that sometimes. I also really like that and how it kind of opposes his personality, because he's very got himself sorted, got a big boy job in the big boy city with his big boy apartment. And he just gives the impression that he just has everything sorted. And I like how they kind of clash, but not really clash. I like that dynamic situation that's going on. But that's all for my little update for now. I'm gonna sit and read a bit more tonight, and I'll probably update you tomorrow at some point. I actually have a lot to do tomorrow. A lot to do. It's literally the weekend, but it's gonna be a busy one. Just with things that I have to film and edit over the weekend. But I'm actually hoping to finish this tomorrow maybe. I'm literally nearly already halfway through. Well, am I? 162, I think, is where the midpoint is, and I'm on 112, so I have exactly 50 pages to go until I'm halfway, which I feel like is kind of doable tonight if I don't get too tired, but could potentially happen. Let's see how much that is. That's how much. Okay, that actually looks like kind of a chunk. We'll see. We'll see what I get up to tonight. If I don't finish this tomorrow, then I'm hoping to finish it the day after that. And then we can move on to our next romance book. picture. And I also just finished my book, which I don't really know where that time has just gone. I had like an hour and 40 minutes, something like that, left to listen to. And I've actually read this entire book up until the last bit, which I listened to, just because I was really in the mood to colour, which I think came out really cute. It's really giving summery vibes, which I'm here for. And yeah, I was just colouring away, and then before I knew it, it was the epilogue. This one, I will say, I found a lot cringier than The Love Wager. I know I keep comparing the two, but it's just because The Love Wager was the first adult romance that I read by Lynn Painter, and also they are part of the same series. So I do think they have a very similar vibe to each other, which I do really like. I like how fun and light-hearted they are. And even though The Love Wager is cheesy, it didn't make me kind of internally cringe when I was reading it. But this one at times did kind of make me do that, but not very often. I would say it was still worth the read, and I did enjoy it and I had a good time, but I think I do prefer The Love Wager to this one. I really like the kind of dynamic between them two and how they are very much opposites. I thought it was interesting, the kind of dynamic between them where it's kind of seeing somebody you've known for so long in a different light. I also really liked her whole chaoticness and how that was spoken about, especially towards the end, and I think that kept her character really fun to read about, and just how it felt like she was kind of all over the place in a good way. But then we have him who's very put together and he's not chaotic at all, and I liked the kind of mismatch of that. I was just trying to reread a bit because I just thought there was a situation where he was moving away, and with how everything ended, I'm like, well, what's happened to that? What's happened to that? Is that happening? Confused. I don't think that was ever spoken about unless I missed it. Maybe it's mentioned in The Love Wager. I don't know. But for rating, I think it's probably a 3-star. 3-star read, I want to say. I don't think I'll think about these characters again. I definitely wasn't as invested in them as I was with Jack and... I want to say it's Hallie. I also know Hallie is in Daydream, and that's confusing me. I think it's Hallie and Jack. The couple in The Love Wager. Definitely felt more invested in them, and I really liked the way that they bounce off each other and their banter with each other. These two definitely did have a similar kind of banter with each other, but it was more in a kind of mean way. That's the best way I can describe it. It wasn't like bad, but it was more like they had a dislike for each other, but they didn't actually, but that's the way that they joked around with each other. I can really imagine these books as movies. I think they would make such great rom-coms, and I would just love to see that happen. I'd love to see that happen. I'm surprised actually that Lynn Painter's books haven't been picked up for a movie or a TV show, because I feel like Better Than the Movies would also make a great like high school rom-com. Maybe that's already a thing and I just don't know it. But maybe that is something that's already happening. I'm gonna look it up. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. People think that it might happen, but that's just speculation. There's been no conversation about it. But that would be amazing. I honestly think all Lynn Painter's books would just be great films. I think I know what I'm going to pick up next. Just keep thinking about one particular series and I keep coming back to it in my head. So I think I'm going to pick the next one up in said series. But I don't know yet. I'm going to have a look at my TBR cart and see what I'm feeling. I'm about to start my next read, but first of all, tea. Obviously, we have to make a tea. And I was just thinking, I could really do with a Valentine's themed mug. I feel like I have no mug that's even like pink or got hearts on or anything. So we're gonna have to settle with Boss Burgers, which I'm not mad about. I'm gonna go for my Tina Belcher mug, which says, "Time for the tram bomb to explode," which we love her. We love her. little update on Heartstopper Volume 3. I just love these books, I honestly do. They just make me so happy. And first of all, they're just so easy to read, and I really find that I forget that I'm reading because they're just so enjoyable to read. And I love this style of drawing, and the graphics in here are just so good. And it always surprises me how much you can get across about these characters and the way that these characters are feeling with just a little snapshot almost. And the thing that I absolutely love about Nick and Charlie and their connection is how it really captures that kind of first love. Everything's new and exciting and also nerve-wracking at the same time. Like, it's just such a mix of emotions, and I feel like their story really captures that so well. And there's also something quite innocent and wholesome about that first type of love and just their love for each other and their connection that they have. And I really get the impression that their connection, their bond with each other is really growing throughout the books. This one is really fun because they're going on a school trip to Paris, and I've just got to the part where they're going to Paris. I've read a little bit about their trip so far. It's a lot of fun because we're somewhere new, we're in a different environment, we're in a different situation with these characters, and you get to see them basically spending 24/7 with each other during this, I think it's like a week-long trip or something. So you get to see them in like group situations, but you also get to see them exploring new things with each other and like going to see Paris. And I'm really enjoying that, and I love the drawings of Paris. And I'm kind of nervous about this book just because the first two books, I feel like we haven't really had the bond between them disrupted, if that makes sense. Like, there hasn't really been anything that either one of them has done wrong or to upset the other one, or any outside kind of noise, because it's very much been a secret. It's very much just been them two in a sort of bubble, and like they're the only two people that know about what's going on with them. So there hasn't been any kind of outside noise or outside disruptions, which makes me nervous because I'm like, it can't all be smooth sailing like this, like surely not. I don't want anything bad to happen to these two, and I don't want anything bad to come between them. I don't know, so it makes me nervous because I'm worried that this is going to be the book where it kind of kicks off. But also maybe not, maybe I could be wrong. I'm hoping it's just going to be a fun little Paris trip. That's what I'm hoping. I'm literally almost halfway through, it looks like. That's the thing about these books, like I literally sit down for what feels like 10 minutes and I'm already halfway through the book. I mean, it hasn't been 10 minutes. And I honestly just don't know where the time goes when I'm reading this. I don't, but that's what I absolutely love about it. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I kind of knew that I would because I really enjoyed the first two. And I'm really happy to be back with these characters and just carry on their story because I love how each book basically follows on from each other as well. I'm just having the best time. I literally only have a little bit left to go. I don't actually know how many pages it is because these books, the page number follows on from the first volume, so it's like one big book. So this page number actually starts at 560. But I'm currently on page 817, and I think it goes up to 900 and something, so I'm so nearly done. And I'm loving the Paris situation at the minute. I just love it. The whole school trip atmosphere, and just them two and how cute they are together, and like the tension between them because nobody else knows about them, but they want to experience all these things in Paris together. It's just so cute. And I really like how throughout each volume we really feel like we're getting to know them a lot more, and things that we didn't know about these characters are coming out in this book, and I just feel like we're getting to know them on a deeper level. I'm also so excited to watch the show for it. I'm so excited. I just can't wait to see it actually come to life, because even the way that this is done, because it's a graphic novel, it already feels like that, and it literally feels like I'm watching it. So I'm just so intrigued to see what they've done with the actual show. And these two characters are just so wholesome. They're so cute, honestly. And just their whole story is so cute. They're literally about to have a little birthday party in one of the hotel rooms, and they're all having a little gathering. So let's see what happens. I honestly think Nick as a character is so cute, and he's almost like unexpectedly cute. Like the things that he does and just how empathetic he is and like how quick he is to pick up on things. I feel like you don't really expect it from how his character was kind of set up to start with, but I just love how attentive he is with Charlie. I love it. Truth or dare? Not truth or dare. Panic. This volume has really captured the vibe of a school trip so well, and I don't quite know how she's done that, but it's just really captured it. And like everybody's different personalities as well, it's just done so well. The teachers. The teachers. That's the end. I literally love the things she includes at the end of the book. Like we have their diary entries for both Nick and Charlie, and then we also have like a little character card for each of them with like their personality type, their birthday, their school year, their age, a little fun fact about each of them. And I swear the fun facts are always different on each one, if I'm not mistaken. So it just means we get a little bit extra about these characters, which is really nice. Oh, that's really cute. They all have like their Instagram posts up. I love that. I love that. And then we have Nick's room, and we have view A and view B, and then we have all the key features as well, and like it gives you a little bit about how that ended up there. Like for example, his fairy lights he put up on Christmas and forgot to take them down for 3 months, and then he decided he liked having them up all year round. Like it gives you little facts about them. It's just really nice detail because she didn't need to include all this because it doesn't technically add to like the plot, but it adds to the story of them and like the story of these characters, which I just love. And then we also have Charlie's room and the key features in his room. Oh, we have a little mini comic. Cute. Very, very cute. I almost want to go straight into the next one, but I just feel like something is going to happen in that one because it's been kind of smooth sailing. I mean, not exactly smooth sailing, but between them two, they've always been quite strong, their bond with each other, and they haven't really had anything that's rocked their relationship. Like, they've had things that they had to work out or like get through together, but between them two, it's always been strong, and that makes me nervous. That literally makes me nervous for volume 4, because I'm like, something's brewing. I don't know what, but something's brewing. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed our little Paris trip. I literally feel like I went on this school trip with them. I honestly struggle to rate these books because I feel like they're all 4 stars. I feel like I should probably rate the series as a whole because they are volumes in a series, and I like all the volumes so far equally. Like there isn't one that necessarily stands out to me at the minute. Like they just very much feel like a carry-on kind of story. So for now, I'm going to give this 4 stars, which is what I gave the first 2 as well. And I do think this whole series will probably end up being around a 4 star, at least at the minute anyway. We'll see for the next 2 volumes when I get around to them. But I just love it, and it's such a nice change from what I'm usually reading because it's a graphic novel. And these are really great books, especially if you're in a reading slump. These are like my go-to recommendations for that, just because they're so quick to get through. It literally just flies by when you're reading, and you get so immersed in these characters and this world and their story together that you literally just forget that you're reading. I definitely recommend them. They're just so wholesome, honestly. just started reading The Full Risk by Abby Jimenez, which is her new short story that she's released. I actually didn't even realise this was a thing until I saw on Instagram that it was currently free on Kindle, and it's like a Valentine's Day short story. And I was like, that's literally perfect, and it's perfect to read for this vlog because we're also coming to the end of this week as well, and I don't think I could manage to read a full book in that time, but I can read a little short story. And I've been really wanting to read more of Abby Jimenez's writing and her books because I just love the Pop Your World series. I absolutely love it, and I've been thinking about getting the Friend Zone series because I'd really like to read them at some point. But when I saw that she had a Valentine's Day short story, I was like, perfect, perfect. And I'm literally halfway through already. It is only about 80 something pages, I think, so it should be a really easy, quick little read. And the first thing I'll say is I have missed her writing style and just the way that she creates characters. There's just something about it that I just absolutely love. I feel like she does characters so well in the way that immediately you get the vibe of who they are as characters, and even in this short story I'm getting that kind of vibe. I'd say there's kind of 4 main characters. Well, there's 2 main characters because the main guy and the main girl, but then we have both of their best friends who are technically side characters, but the way that they're done, you just really get the vibe of who they are and like what their personalities are like. And I don't quite know how she's done that so well in such a short amount of time because I'm literally only 40 something pages in. The situation that they're in is kind of a unique concept actually. We basically have Seth and Charlotte has recently moved in next door to Seth, and there's been a bit of a construction issue, and basically their staircase, they're on this second floor of this building and the staircase has been taken down. And this happens on a Friday, and the builders basically say that they can't come back until Monday, so they're basically trapped for the whole weekend, and they're trapped together. That's basically the premise of it. So we have these 2 characters who have never really met because she's his new neighbour and she just moved in, and we have them 2 essentially stuck together for the whole weekend, and during this weekend is also Valentine's Day. So we have them spending literally 24/7 together, learning a bit about her background. I feel like we know her a lot more than we know him at the minute. All we really know about him is that he is a tree surgeon, which I feel like is such a random job to give a main character, but I have a real memory of that being in another book and I cannot for the life of me remember what book that was. I have a feeling it might be a Christmas book, weirdly, and I feel like it was the Jenny Colgan Christmas book that I read. I just really remember somebody being a tree surgeon, and I remember me thinking at the time that was such a rogue job to choose. And I literally thought the same thing for this guy. So that just kind of made me laugh that it's such a unique job, but that I've read about it twice. I'm just really happy to be reading something else that Abby Jimenez has written because I just really like the way she writes. And I feel like she does romances really well in a non-cheesy way. Like I don't think any of her romances actually have made me cringe because I feel like it's quite easy in romance books to be cringy or overly cheesy, and sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that is okay because that's the vibe, but my favourite kind of romances are the ones that don't make me internally cringe. I often find they're the ones I connect with a lot more as well. So I'm having a really good time reading at the minute, but I think I am going to go to bed now because it's literally like 1 AM. I might read a little bit more and then go to bed. That's the plan, and I'll update you in the morning. Good night. It's the next morning and I finished reading The Full Risk by Abby Jimenez. This was just a little short and sweet short story. It was just a lot of fun. It was really nice to be reading another Abby Jimenez book, and I actually think it would have worked well as a longer story. I feel like I want to know more about those characters already. I will say that it did feel like we knew Charlotte a lot more than we knew Seth. I feel like we got little bits about Seth's background and stuff, and then it was just kind of forgotten about almost, which I know is so hard to do in such a short amount of time. But with Charlotte, we really got her background, we got kind of her living situation and things that she was trying to overcome. And then Seth, we also got a little bit at the start about his relationship situation and him basically recently coming out of this divorce. But then it was kind of never mentioned again. And that's what I mean by it was kind of just forgotten about, like it was never really spoken about again. So it almost feels like we got a little bit about his background and like what he was dealing with, but then nothing kind of came of that. Like I said, I know it is a short story and it's hard to do that in such a short amount of time, but I just feel like we did get that a lot with Charlotte and her story. It's a really easy, fast-paced read and literally perfect to read around Valentine's Day. And I like the whole reason that it's called The Fall Risk, and I like how that was kind of woven into the story and it was very clear why it was called that. I really like the whole idea and that concept to base a romance story off. I really like it. And there were parts of the ending that were really satisfying as well, things that had been mentioned beforehand. And when I was reading the epilogue, I was like, that's just so cute, because they'd mentioned stuff that had previously been talked about in a certain way. I just thought it was really nice to kind of pick up on them again, and it just makes for a really satisfying ending. The rating, I actually find it really hard to rate novellas or like short stories. I feel like my rating system kind of changes when it comes to them. I think this is probably like a 3.5. If I had to say. I just really enjoyed it, and it was nice to read something a bit different as well, because the pace of this, obviously because it's a short story, is just very, very quick and literally straight to the point. So all around a very enjoyable read, and I would definitely recommend, especially at the minute, considering it's literally free. Today is actually the last day of this week of reading romance books, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you did, and I will hopefully see you in my next one.